Shana. We will now hear from Mr. Anthony Coe, Chair of the Committee on the Constitution and Canons and one of the Vice Chancellors of the Diocese, to provide a report from that committee. A written copy of the report is found in your digital convention booklet on page 40.
So, Bishop, I think we have the written report. We really need just do 2 housekeeping votes. So I think probably can get done in less than 10 minutes.
Okay, to talk to the microphone.
Less than 10 minutes. All right. So you have the written report. I'm going to skip the first and the last part. Just get to the part where we need to take the 2 votes. A little bit of background. Last year, at the annual meeting of the convention, we reported on a Maryland state law that addressed a very long-standing problem relating to the corporate status of the 51 parishes in the diocese located in Maryland. So for many years, many of those parishes had difficulties in routine corporate functions, such as opening bank accounts, particularly applying for grants, okay, and establishing documentation of incorporation, because those corporations were governed by that Maryland Vestry Act of 1798. So that was not part of the Maryland Annotated Code, and it caused a great deal of confusion in the administration of corporate laws with respect to those parishes, especially by Maryland state agencies, getting things like grant applications. But it's also with business entities entering into legal relationships. So the new law repealed the remaining provisions of the Vestry Act as it applied to Maryland, and made the affected parishes subject to the provisions of the Maryland Annotated Code. And these parishes now are religious corporations under Maryland state law. The parishes are now provided the same corporate treatment as any other religious corporation in the state of Maryland. The diocese is now in the process of assisting the transition of the affected Maryland parishes to their new corporate status as religious corporations, in order to maximize the benefits from the recently enacted statute. Several parishes have already filed their filings for getting the certificate and the articles of incorporation, and there are still many parishes that have not. Those who are not, you are still religious corporations, but you don't have the benefit of having that certificate of incorporation, which helps you to do business. Let's see, the committee has provided the advice to both the diocese and to the bishop. They've acted in that function as just sort of a legal advisors especially, or providing recommendations, and they will continue to do that. So the First Amendment, and as I say, they're kind of like housekeeping amendments really, is to have the canons conform the canon requirements to this new Maryland statute and the existing laws of the District of Columbia. So this applies to both of our situations, of the District of Columbia and Maryland. And this amendment would require that any new parish that is established by the diocese, once they go through the process of petitioning to become a new parish of the diocese, okay, they have to go through 2 votes at convention, and then once they're a new parish, what this amendment would do is say you have a certain amount of time to go ahead and file your articles of incorporation, and it would say the chancellor is to assist you in getting that done. This was done as recently as, 2024. So we might have new parishes coming in the future. No, I'm sorry, as recently as January 2020. So the First Amendment is proposed, and therefore the Committee on the Constitution and the Canon moves the adoption of a resolution amending the canons as follows.
There's no need for a second, and so I wonder if you have any questions before we take a vote. Seeing no one, we will now vote. All those in favor of the proposed amendment, please raise your hand. Thanks. You can put them down. If you are opposed, raise your hand. Abstentions? It is approved. Thank you. Mr. Coe?
All right. The second proposed amendment to the canons, which was also prompted by the New Maryland statute, it's not as straightforward as the first proposal, but it does demonstrate the unique legal status of our diocese, which can really be very challenging when implementing new laws. We are very unlike other dioceses in this case. Okay? The characteristics of our legal status are first that we are, we're governed by both our canonical law and our public law, and the public law generally takes precedence in secular matters such as corporate law. And then the second is that our parishes in the same diocese are subject to different secular laws, and that includes both, federal, state, local, and the District of Columbia. Okay, so this particular issue, regards the laws relating to the number of vestry members that are required to be on members of any committee that has been established by a vestry and exercises the authority of the vestry. Okay, as a practical matter, we're not aware of a real compliance problem with this, but it's like a lurking legal issue that should be considered by parishes. So you can note that in the particular amendment that we put in, that the committee does not restate or incorporate the different public laws into the canons themselves. For those that have a specific interest in the application of the particular secular law on the issue, you can consult with your own counsel, or you can contact the chancellor or the vice chancellor, myself, for support about this. You will notice in the written report, there are several principles that are laid out, and it's using this very narrow particular issue that has to do with vestry membership. But it's a great example to see the way that the law is sort of layered and the way that it applies to different parishes because of the location in which law is going to apply and where we are along the way. Bottom line is we kind of have a mishmash of different laws that apply to us in different ways, and we try to get those all in conformity through our canons. If you are having an interest, if you are one of the 51 parishes that are in Maryland that wants to go through the process of the Articles of Incorporation, getting that certificate of good standing as a corporation is really, really important in terms of being able to get, contracts, especially state grants. All right, I'm not going to go through those principles. They're printed out there for you to look at. We will go ahead and prepare for the second vote in the Second Amendment. So therefore, the Committee on the Constitution and Canons moves the adoption of a resolution amending the canons as follows.
Thank you. Any questions or conversation? If you are in favor of the amendment as proposed, please raise your hand. Thank you. Opposed? The amendment is passed. Thank you, Mr. Coe. Thank you to the Constitution and Canons Committee.